Hello, lovely humans. Jen Foxbot here. Okay, so I keep getting this question from a lot of folks: is AI going to take our jobs? So let's talk about it. The short answer is probably not. Definitely not in the short term. The long answer is, well, like most issues, it's complicated. So let's get into it. First, I also want to be transparent that I currently work at Microsoft and I am involved in our AI work. That said, I am doing this video as a private individual, it's Saturday, I am off the clock. Okay, so let's talk about it. So the short answer, and definitely in the short term, no. The AI tools that are currently out and that are being developed really need a human in the loop. I would strongly recommend reviewing any sort of code or text generation, and definitely any images generated yourself. So you definitely can't trust the output of AI tools. They make shit up, and so that's kind of where we're at. That said, they are super, super useful for saving time. For example, I love using them to generate ideas about how do I write a draft for an event description, give me some clever titles for projects. Some of my friends have been using ChatGPT to write cover letters, um, college application essays, and just to kickstart your creativity. Um, I that said, college application essays might be a little I'm not going to judge that. I think that they're hard to begin with, and I think that you know right now you can't really trust the AI to put out something that doesn't need review. So you got to review it. It needs a human in the loop. Okay, so that's the short answer. The more complicated answer is that, well, AI is a tool, right? And like any tool, it can be used for really, really wonderful things. It can be used to solve really challenging problems. It can be used, for example, as a small business owner, I totally would be stoked to leverage ChatGPT to help with website copy, social media posts, that sort of thing, just because I didn't have the time to do everything. There's a shit ton of work that you got to do as a small business owner, and you don't have the money to pay a bunch of people to do it. Well, often you don't. And, so there are a lot of really, really useful things that AI can be used for to make our lives easier, and to make things like running a small business more accessible. Um, that said, like any tool, it also can be used to do harmful things, like create deep fakes, to create images that are fake, to create text that is fake, um, misinformation, that sort of thing. And so this is why, the people in the AI community are calling for regulation. We really, really need to regulate this. Just like we really, really need to regulate spam calls, or we need to regulate social media. Very similar situation there. We need government regulation because capitalism cannot exist without regulation. That's a whole nother topic. Happy to get into that if you're curious. But anyway, so AI does need regulation because, like a hammer, it can be used to build something and it can also be used to destroy things, or to cause harm. The other thing I want to comment on with AI is that, okay, so I think a really interesting question that I've been thinking about, that was posed in a podcast, was okay, people are really kind of panicking about AI and safety and all of that. But people didn't panic when the personal computer came out. We didn't panic when smartphones came out. Hold on, there's a phone, or there's a plane. Okay. So we didn't panic when smartphones came out. We didn't panic when social media came out until later, right? Until we realized the harm that it can cause without regulation. And it's interesting to me because AI is coming up and it hasn't necessarily caused harm yet. It's still kind of in the fun and flirty phase, early relationship phase. Um, we haven't set boundaries yet, and we need to set boundaries, but it's still fun. So why are folks panicking? And my hypothesis is that it's because this tool is kind of coming on the back of all of these technologies that held these very lofty promises about making the world better for everybody. And in reality, these tools, well, yes, they have made the world better, in my opinion, in many ways. But they've also exasperated economic disparity, meaning that like the people who were already wealthy and powerful are really the ones that benefited the most. And the people that were vulnerable, that were low income, the people that are working minimum wage jobs, like these are the people that have been hurt the most by, or harmed the most by, these technologies. And so AI, poses the same problem. It is another tool that's coming into a system where wealthy and powerful people are incentivized to use this tool to exploit people and their labor. And I think that that is the key issue, is that the system needs to be reformed because people are incentivized to exploit labor. And I really think that this is the conversation that we need to have as a society, right? Like it's not so much about the technology itself, rather it's about the context, the societal context, the economic context that the tool is coming into, and we need to really talk about what kind of a society we want as people. In my opinion, a society that has billionaires and homeless folks is a failure. It's also not very stable. And so that's kind of the whole point of government regulation with capitalism, is like, let's build a stable society where people have opportunities. And so I think I would like if we could shift the conversation around AI to really asking about like, yeah, what kind of a society do we want? Because I want a society where, people have access to high quality education, where people have access to opportunities, where people have a social safety net so they feel free to explore and to be creative and to simply exist without, working 24/7, working 45,000 jobs. Some folks are, I mean, not literally 45,000, but like some folks are literally working 4 jobs, and that's absurd. So, how can we support people and create a society into which we can incentivize people to make good and positive choices that help people with tools like AI, rather than incentivize people to make choices that harm people, that exploit people, that sort of thing. Okay, so I'll get off my soapbox. Let me know if you have questions about AI. I know that it's like really it's still new, and it's kind of, there's a lot of open questions about it, and I'm happy to talk about it. So yay. Thank you for listening. And I hope that this helps a little bit, and just remember that like we can make a difference. So it's just about like asking the right questions and putting in the time to make change. So take care of yourself, and I'll see you later. Bye.